Ecuador na kuryente habang nagpipintura ng bahay.
Nakaligtas pa kaya ang lalaki mula sa bingit ng kamatayan? Nako, atin pong alamin ang lagay niya maya-maya. Magandang gabi. Ako po si Ricky Mathay.
Ako si Nina Richie Alago Flores. Ito ang mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa mga headlines ngayong araw ng Lunes.
Pagdagsa na milyong biyahero inaasahan ng Department of Transportation ngayong long weekend.
Balikatan exercises ng Pilipinas at Estados Unidos sisimulan na sa susunod na linggo.
Russian President Vladimir Putin, Chinese President Xi Jinping at North Korean leader Kim Jong-un posibleng magpulong sa Moscow.
Daniel Noboa idineklara bilang bagong Pangulo ng Ecuador.
At World Expo 2025 binuksan na sa Osaka, Japan. Alerto na po ngayon ang Department of Transportation sa pagdagsa na milyong mga biyahero para ngayong long weekend.
Ayon sa Transport Department, inaasahan nilang aabot sa 150,000 ang daily passengers count sa NAIA. Para matugunan ang volume ng pasahero ay nagdagdag na ng staff sa check-in counters ang private operator ng NAIA. Higit pa rito, posibleng nasa estimated 2.5 milyon na mga pasahero naman ang inaasahang dadagsa sa PTEX. Tinukoy ni PTEX spokesperson Jason Salvador noong Abril 9 pa nagsimula ang pagbuhos ng pasahero sa terminals. Anya, mas marami ngayon ang umuwi sa iba't ibang probinsya dahil bukod sa long weekend, dadalo sila sa graduation at iba't ibang recognition sa mga paaralan. Nakahanda rin ang North Luzon o Luzon Expressway Corporation na NLEX sa pagdaan ng malaking volume ng mga sasakyan ngayong mahabang bakasyon. Inaasahan ng management ng NLEX na nasa 385,000 na mga sasakyan kada araw ang daraan sa nasabing kalsada. Para makatulong sa daloy ng mga sasakyan, magiging bukas ang lahat ng lanes ng NLEX 24/7 at magdaragdag sila ng traffic personnel. Samantala, naka-heightened alert na ang Metro Rail Transit Line o MRT3 bilang paghahanda sa mataas na bilang ng mga pasahero ngayong mahabang bakasyon. Ayon sa MRT3 management, may itinalagang sapat na bilang ng security at station personnel sa mga estasyon para umagapay sa mga pasahero sa kanilang mga pangangailangan.
Samantala, itinaas na po ng Department of Health o DOH ang Code White Alert sa lahat ng ospital at health facilities sa Pilipinas. Bahagi ito ng paghahanda ng ahensya sa anumang health-related incidents na maaaring bumangon sa panahon ng pagdagsa ng mga Pilipinong uuwi sa kanilang mga lalawigan at maging sa mga tourist destinations ngayong long weekend. Ayon sa DOH, magtatagal ang Code White Alert hanggang sa susunod na linggo, April 20. Nagpaalala naman si Health Secretary Ted Herbosa sa publiko na maging alerto sa mga kalsada ngayong karamihan ay magbabiyahe. At dahil din sa matinding init, inabisuhan din ang publiko na palagi ang uminom ng sapat na tubig at iwasang magbabad sa initan.
Naku, marami pong Pilipino ang matutuwa ngayong araw dahil sa wakas makikita na po sa Google Maps ang West Philippine Sea o WPS. Isang click lang sa Google Maps search ay makikita rito na pinangalanan na ang Scarborough Shoal o Panatag Shoal bilang bahagi ng WPS. Ang maritime feature na ito ay isang common fishing ground na matatagpuan sa loob ng 200 nautical miles exclusive economic zone ng Pilipinas. Ipinakikita rin ng Google Maps na ang Panatag Shoal ay nasa loob mismo ng katubigan ng WPS. Itinuturing ito ng maraming Pilipino na mahalagang hakbang sa pagkilala sa teritoryo ng bansa, lalo na sa gitna ng mga issue sa karapatang pandagat. Dati nang pinaliwanag ng Permanent Court of Arbitration sa The Hague na ang mga lugar na nasa kanlurang bahagi ng kapuluan ng Pilipinas ay kabilang sa West Philippine Sea. Marin itong tinutulan ng China kaya patuloy nitong hinaharas at binubuli ang mga sasakyang pandagat ng Pilipinas na nagpapatrolya roon.
At matagumpay na nakumpleto ng Pilipinas at Estados Unidos ang Joint Logistics Over-the-Shore Operations sa Aurora. Paghahanda ang nasabing aktibidad para sa nalalapit na Exercise Balikatan 40 2025. Ayon sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, target ng naturang maritime drills ang pagpapabuti ng logistical skills na mahalaga umano para sa epektibong pinagsamang joint operations ng Pilipinas at ng Estados Unidos.
Balik Pinas na ang 89-man team ng Philippine Interagency Humanitarian Contingent na dineploy para tumulong sa rescue and medical operations sa Myanmar matapos po ang pagtama ng malakas na magnitude 7.7 na lindol sa nasabing bansa. Dumating ang Philippine Contingent Team pasado alas 11 ng gabi nitong linggo sa Villamor Air Base sakay ng C-130 cargo aircraft. Pinasalamatan naman ni Health Secretary Teodoro Herbosa ang Philippine Emergency Medical Assistance Team sa pagkakaloob ng medical services sa mga biktima ng lindol sa Myanmar. Noong April 1, dumating ang unang batch ng the Philippine Contingent Team sa Myanmar habang sumunod na araw naman ang ikalawang batch. Tumulong sila sa pagbibigay ng medical aid sa mga Pilipino at naggamot sa mga Burmese patients sa field at mga fixed hospitals. Higit sa 3,000 katao ang napaulat na nasawi sa lindol na tumama sa Myanmar noong March 28. May 2 Pilipino naman na namatay sa lindol batay sa kumpirmasyon ng Department of Foreign Affairs o DFA, habang may 2 iba pa na patuloy pa ring nawawala.
Tiniyak ni Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. na hindi hahayaan ang kanyang administrasyon na bastusin, insultuhin at gawing katatawanan ng mga dayuhang vlogger ang mga Pilipino. Kasunod ito ng pagka-aresto kay Russian-American vlogger na si Vitaly Sodorotsky dahil sa umano'y pambabastos at pag-iinsulto nito sa mga Pinoy. Patong-patong na kaso ang kinakaharap ni Sodorotsky matapos ang mga pang-aapi umano nito sa mga security guards at pagnanakaw ng isang industrial fan sa isang restaurant habang nag-livestream sa isang mall sa Taguig City. Kumakalat din ang video nito na nang iinsulto sa isang windsurfing instructor sa isla ng Boracay.
Biro man ito o hindi, sino naman Pilipino ang hindi kukulo ang dugo sa napapanood natin? Kalungkot dahil ito isang naging bahagi na ng social media na nagkakaroon ng mga vlogger na nanggugulo lang, nang aasar lang, nang buwisit lang, nang babastos lang para makakuha ng mga viewers. Huwag tayong sasama dyan sa ganyang klaseng ugali. Hindi naman ganyan ang ugaling Pilipino.
Nanawagan din ng Pangulo sa publiko na huwag suportahan ng mga content creators na ang tanging layunin anya ay maghasik ng pambabastos sa mga Pilipino.
Tiniyak ng Metropolitan Water Works and Sewerage System o MWSS na hindi magkukulang ang supply ng tubig sa Metro Manila at sa mga karatig na probinsya nitong tag-init. Ayon kay MWSS, sapat na ang tubig sa mga dam para sa panahon ng tag-init. Anya, nasa 208 meters ang elevation level ng Angat Dam na nagbibigay ng 90% na tubig sa rehiyon. Inihayag pa ng ahensya na bumababa ang dependency sa Angat Dam dahil sa mga bagong dam, katulad ng Wawa Dam na inaasahang magiging operational sa December ngayong taon.
Ito naman po, sakto sa mga babiyahe ngayong long weekend dahil good news sa mga motorista dahil sasalubong bukas April 15 ang big-time rollback sa mga produktong petrolyo. Batay sa advisories na inilabas ng oil industry firms, magpapatupad sila ng 13 na bawas presyo sa kada litro ng gasolina. Nasa 2.20 naman ang rollback sa kada litro ng diesel, habang 3.10 naman ang ibinaba sa presyo kada litro ng kerosene o gas. Ayon po sa Department of Energy, may kinalaman ang lumalalang trade war sa pagitan ng Estados Unidos at ng China sa rollback sa oil products.
Susunod, Putin at Xi Jinping magpupulong sa Moscow.
Daniel Noboa, bagong Pangulo ng Ecuador.
At US at Saudi Arabia magkakaroon ng kasunduan. Iba pang detalye ng mga balita sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
We are now open for business.
It is a signal to the world. We are open for business.
Open for Business with Cesar Vallejos. Every Sunday, 9 p.m.
Sa NET25.
Dahil walang hinto ang balita,
Financial straits.
mata ng Agila Weekend tuwing Sabado, alas 4 ng hapon. Ito ang NET25. Matatag, matapag, matapak.
Let's net together. Sa NET25. Sa NET25.
Preparing for an uncertain future is challenging. Many cities are already seeing heavier rainfall, flooding, and rising temperatures. Rethinking roofs could help mitigate the impact. Food supply is another critical area. The farms of the future will have to fight off plant diseases more effectively, as well as hungry competitors. Methods in fields and factories need to be more environmentally friendly when making products like cheese.
Nangangamba ang maraming residente sa bansang Japan dahil sa patuloy na pagtaas ng presyo ng bigas doon. Ito'y kahit naglatag na ng mga hakbang ang kanilang gobyerno para bumaba ang presyo ng bigas.
前に買ったのがまだ少し残ってるのでそれ使ってますけど今日もそろそろ少なくなったので買おうかと思ったらすごく高かったのでやめましたまだ早く安くなってほしいですよねお米だけじゃなくて他にもみんな高くなってるのではい
Ayon sa datos na inilabas ng Agriculture Ministry ng bansa noong nakarang linggo, ang average na presyo para sa 5 kilo ng bigas na ibinebenta sa mga supermarket sa buong Japan noong linggo ng Marso 24 ay umabot sa 4,206 yen o $29. Sinasabi ng ilan na ito'y higit sa doble ng presyo ng bigas ng parehong panahon ng nakaraang taon. Nagkukumahog tuloy ang maraming residente na bumili ng bigas at takot na lalong tumaas ang presyo nito. May ilan ding nakaranas ng naubusan ng bigas sa mga pamilihan kaya hiling nila ay sana'y ibaba na ang presyo ng pinakamahalagang pagkain sa Japan.
安いのがこの間出てたんですが、もう行ったらすぐ売り切れになってて手に入らないですね多分。期待してません。下がる気配あるのかなってそういう不安はありますね。
Bumisita si Chinese President Xi Jinping sa Vietnam upang ipagdiwang ang ika-75 anibersaryo ng kanilang diplomatikong relasyon at palawigin pa ang kalakaran ng dalawang bansa. Ang pagbisitang ito ay naglayong paigtingin ang kooperasyon sa agrikultura, forestry, pangingisda na matagal ng pundasyon ng kanilang ugnayang pang-ekonomiya. Taong 2008 pa nang nagtatag ng Comprehensive Strategic Cooperative Partnership ang China sa Vietnam. Sa dialogo ng mga pinuno, inihayag nila ang planong pagbuo ng Vietnam-China Community with a Shared Future na nagpapakita ng kanilang matibay na pagkakaunawaan at kooperasyon. Pumirma ang dalawa ng 24 na Memorandum of Understanding and Protocols para sa pagpapalawig ng access sa import and export ng mga agricultural products ng Vietnam sa merkadong Chinese at kasama po dito ang mga prutas katulad na lang ng durian at saging na nakikitang malaking oportunidad para sa mga negosyante. Nananatili ang Vietnam na ang pinakamalaking trading partner ng China sa ASEAN sa loob ng 20 taon. Nagpalaya naman ang Israeli military ng 10 Palestinians na lalaking bilanggo matapos ang ilang buwang pagkakakulong. Ikinwento ng mga ito ang matinding pang-aabuso at pagpapahirap na naranasan nila sa loob ng bilangguan. Ang mga dating bilanggo ay sinalubong ng kanilang mga pamilya sa isang ospital sa Deir Abbala. Ayon sa kanila, sila ay hinuli sa Northern Gaza at ikinulong sa SD Tejman, isang military detention facility na iniulat na kilala umano sa hindi tamang pagtrato pagdating sa mga bilanggong Palestino. Ayon sa mga ulat, pahigit sa 61 Palestinians na ang namatay sa Israeli detention mula nang magsimula ang gera noong October 2023. Marami ang nakakulong ng walang kaso o paglilitis man lamang.
Binalaan naman ng Israel ang Hamas na mayroong matinding mga pag-atake pa silang gagawin kapag hindi nila tinanggap ang panibagong ceasefire deal.
הלילה ברצועת עזה העברנו הילוך. צה"ל תופס שטחים, מכה במחבלים, הורס את התשתיות, ואנחנו עושים דבר נוסף. אנחנו תופסים את ציר מורג. זאת תהיה הפילדלפי השנייה, ציר פילדלפי הנוסף. משום שאנחנו עכשיו מבטרים את הרצועה, ואנחנו מוסיפים את הלחץ צעד אחר צעד, כדי שיתנו לנו את חטופינו. וככל שלא ייתנו, כך הלחץ יגבר עד שייתנו. אנחנו נחושים להשיג את יעדי המלחמה, ואנחנו פועלים בלא לאות, עם קו ברור, ועם משימה ברורה. ובעזרת השם, בעזרת חיילינו הגיבורים, אנחנו גם נשיג אותה.
Sinabi ni Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz na papalawakin nilang pag-atake sa northern Gaza. Kanilang nasakop na rin ang Morag Corridor ang naghihiwalay sa Rafah mula Khan Yunis sa southern Gaza. Dahil rito ay naglabas na sila ng evacuation order sa mga Palestino bilang matinding pressure sa Hamas. Una nang sinabi ng Hamas na ang malawakang pag-atake sa Gaza ay hindi nagbibigay ng kasiguraduhan na makababalik na ang mga Palestino sa lugar at tanging prisoner swap lamang ang magaganap. Kapwa nagpadala na rin ang kinatawan ng Israel at Hamas ng delegasyon para muling simulan ang ceasefire negotiations.
Sorpresang binisita ni Prince Harry ang mga biktima ng giyera sa Ukraine. Ayon sa tagapagsalita nito, ang pagbisita ay bahagi ng kanyang pakikipagtrabaho sa mga sugatang war veterans. Tinungo nito ang mga superhuman centers na isang orthopedic clinic sa Lviv kung saan doon dinadala ang mga sugatang sundalo at maging ang mga sibilyan. Tinignan nito ang mga makabagong teknolohiya na nagbibigay ng prosthetics, reconstructive surgery at psychological help kung saan ito ay libre. Ang Duke of Sussex ay nagsilbi ng 10 years sa British Army kung saan kilala siya sa pagtulong sa mga nasugatang sundalo. Hindi na po bago ang 40 years na si Harry or 40-year-old na si Harry sa gera dahil nagsilbi ito sa 2 taon o ng 2 taon sa Afghanistan kung saan sumakay pa ito ng Apache helicopter bilang co-pilot gunner. Siya ang pangalawang miyembro ng royal family na bumisita sa Ukraine na ang una ay ang tiyahin nito na si Sophie, ang Duchess naman of Edinburgh noong nakaraang taon.
Idineklara bilang bagong Pangulo ng Ecuador si Daniel Noboa sa kakatapos lamang nahalalan sa naturang bansa.
Esta jornada ha sido histórica. Esta victoria ha sido histórica también. Una victoria de más de 10 puntos, una victoria de más de 1 millón de votos donde no queda ninguna duda de quién es el ganador. Y eso ha sido a base de perseverancia, de lucha, de trabajo, de cada uno de los miembros de este equipo que busca ese nuevo Ecuador.
Tinalo ni Noboa ang kanyang kalabang leftist na si Luisa Gonzales sa pamamagitan ng nakuhang mahigit 1 milyong botong kalamangan. Subalit hayagang sinabi ni Gonzales sa harap ng kanyang mga taga-suporta na hindi niya tanggap ang resulta ng halalan at kanyang ide-demand na ulitin ang pagbibilang ng mga boto. Tinawag din ito ang resulta ng halalan bilang the worst and most grotesque electoral fraud sa kasaysayan ng Ecuador.
Hoy no reconocemos los resultados y me niego a creer que exista un pueblo que prefiera la mentira antes que la verdad, la violencia antes que la paz y la unidad. Me niego rotundamente a creer algo así y es por eso que nosotros, todo el pueblo que se ha unido en contra de la violencia, de la mentira, vamos a pedir el reconteo y que se abran las urnas. El exit poll, uno de ellos nos daba la victoria y ninguno dio una diferencia como la que estamos viendo en el CNE. Ninguno. Entonces, yo sí denuncio ante mi pueblo, ante los medios y ante el mundo que Ecuador está viviendo una dictadura y estamos enfrentando el peor y más grotesco fraude electoral de la historia de la República del Ecuador.
Samantala, nangako naman ng 37 anyos sa Sinoboa na ipagpapatuloy ang paglaban sa drug gangs at pagpapalakas pa ng kanilang naghihirap na ekonomiya sa kanyang buong 4 na taong termino. Pinasalamatan ni Noboa ang kanyang supporters mula sa beach town ng Olon at sinabing walang duda sa kanyang pagkapanalo bilang Pangulo. Matatandaan na halal si Noboa noong bilang ika-48 Pangulo ng Ecuador taong 2023 snap election sa edad na 35 para pagsilbihan ang natitirang mandato ng kanyang predecessor. Si Noboa ang ikalawang pinakabatang presidente na nahalal sa buong kasaysayan ng Ecuador.
El Ecuador está cambiando. El Ecuador ya escogió un diferente camino. Y ese camino va a hacer que nuestros hijos vivan mejor que nosotros. Va a hacer que las futuras generaciones tengan una vida más digna, una vida más justa, una vida más transparente, un gobierno más transparente, instituciones más transparentes, y progreso, y planificación, y proyección, que lamentablemente en años pasados algunos no pudieron y hasta escogieron salir de este país a buscar suerte en otro lado. El Ecuador quiere ser diferente, el Ecuador no quiere regresar al pasado, el Ecuador quiere caminar hacia adelante, y en ese camino, que no siempre es un camino fácil, en ese camino dar progreso, dar tranquilidad, dar paz, dar empleo. El ecuatoriano quiere una vida mejor. Y han escogido un proyecto que ellos confían que les va a dar esa vida mejor que tanto buscan.
Hiniling ng China kay US President Donald Trump na tuluyan ng kanselahin ang tinatawag nitong reciprocal tariffs.
美方出于一己之私，将关税作为实施极限施压、谋取私利的武器，严重侵犯各国的正当权益，严重违反世界贸易组织的规则，严重损害以规则为基础的多边贸易体制，严重冲击全球经济秩序稳定。这是公然冒天下之大不韪，与整个世界作对。采取必要的反制措施，反对美国的霸凌行径，既是为了维护自身的主权、安全、发展利益，也是为了维护国际公平正义，维护多边贸易体制，维护国际社会的共同利益。得道多助，失道寡助。美国的倒行逆施，不得人心，终将以失败告终。我要再次强调，关税战、贸易战没有赢家，中方不愿打，但也不怕打。我们绝不会坐视中国人民的正当权益被剥夺，绝不会坐视国际经贸规则和多边贸易体制被破坏。如果美方执意打关税战、贸易战，中方必将奉陪到底。美方将自身利益凌驾于国际社会公利，以牺牲全世界各国的正当利益服务美国的霸权利益，必然遭到国际社会更加强烈的反对。
Ayon sa Commerce Ministry ng China, dapat ay itama na ng US ang kanyang kamalian at bumalik na lamang ito sa daan ng mutual respect. Pinag-aaralan din ng China ang epekto ng hakbang ni Trump na hindi niya isasama na patawan ng taripa ang ilang mga technological products na gawa ng China. Ilan sa mga produktong ito ay ang smartphones, computers, and semiconductors na kapag pinatawan ng mataas na taripa ay inaasahang tataas ang presyo ng mga gadgets. Magugunitang inanunsyo ni Trump ang 90-day pause na pagpapatupad ng taripa. Subalit, tinaasan nito ang taripa sa mga Chinese imports at ginawa 145% ang ipinataw na rate para sa bansa.
I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate. So we'll see how it all works out. I think it's going to work out amazing.
Papasok sa isang kasunduan ukol sa energy investments ang Estados Unidos at Saudi Arabia. Alamin natin ang mga detalye ng balitang yan mula kay Anna Cui.
Noong linggo sa Riyadh, sinabi ni U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright na lalagda ang Estados Unidos at Saudi Arabia sa isang paunang kasunduan ng kooperasyon kaugnay ng ambisyon ng kaharian na mag-develop ng isang civil nuclear industry. Nagpulong sina Wright at si Saudi Energy Minister Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman noong linggo sa kabisera ng Saudi Arabia. Ani Wright, nasa daan na ang Riyadh at Washington ukol sa isang kasunduan na magtulungan i-develop ang isang Saudi civil nuclear program.
So Saudi Arabia has resources here, mineral resources including uranium, and it has a desire to expand even further its energy production via commercial nuclear power. The technology for commercial nuclear power was developed in the United States.
Ayon kay Wright, ang mga karagdagang detalye ukol sa kooperasyon ay darating sa mga susunod na buwan.
We're continuing dialogues about how best to cooperate, United States and Saudi Arabia, to ultimately build a commercial nuclear power industry in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I think you'll see meaningful developments on that this year, and I would certainly expect to see a long-term cooperative partnership between the United States and the Kingdom to develop commercial nuclear power right here in Saudi Arabia. Very excited, and certainly more details of that will likely come out later this year.
Ang Saudi Arabia ay pinakamalaking oil exporter ng mundo. Hanap nito na makagenerate ng matibay na renewable energy at bawasan ang emissions. Ito ay sa ilalim ng ambisyosong Vision 2030 Reform Plan ng Crown Prince ng bansa. Sinasabing ilan dito ay inaasahang manggaling sa enerhiyang nuklear. Anna Cui para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Nagbabala ang World Food Program na dahil sa pagputol ng Estados Unidos sa food aid nito, lalo pong sasama ang kalagayan ng gutom sa bansang Afghanistan. Alamin natin ang balita mula kay Leslie Gumarang.
Dahil sa bagong cut-off sa U.S. Emergency Food Aid, sinabi ng World Food Program na lalala ang malawakang gutom sa Afghanistan. Lalo pat kalahati lamang ng populasyon ang kayang suportahan ng ahensya ng kalahating rasyon. Noong Enero, bilang bahagi ng plano ng administrasyon ni Pangulong Donald Trump na bawasan ang gastos ng pamahalaan, nagdesisyon ito na ihinto ang lahat ng foreign aid. Kamakailan, inanunsyo ng US na ititigil na nito ang emergency food funding sa WFP. Ayon sa WFP, kung itutuloy, katumbas ng pinakabagong aid cut na ito ang sentensyang kamatayan para sa milyong-milyong katao. Hinimok ni WFP Acting Country Director Miyutinta Chimuka ang international donors na ipagpatuloy ang suporta sa Afghanistan bilang humaharap ang bansa sa pangalang pinakamalaking humanitarian crisis sa mundo. Ayon kay Chimuka, batay sa kung ano mayroon ang ahensya sa kasalukuyan, abot-abot lang ang kaya nitong tulong para sa 8 milyong katao sa buong taon. Anya, positibong estima pa iyan na hindi papalya ang donor sa pagbibigay. At para mapagkasya ang limitadong resources, kalahating rasyon lamang ang naibibigay ng ahensya sa mga naghihirap na individual. Leslie Gumarang para sa mata ng Agila International, trusted, connected, on point.
Sa isang bibihirang pagkakataon ay maaaring masaksihan ng buong mundo ang isang makasaysayang pagkikita ng mga lider ng China, North Korea at Russia. Ayon sa media sources, makikipagkita sina Chinese leader Xi Jinping at North Korean leader Kim Jong-un kay Russian President Vladimir Putin. Posible anilang mangyari ang naturang historic event sa unang pagkakataon sa May 9 Victory Parade na magaganap sa Red Square sa Moscow. Wala pang opisyal na detalye kung kailan darating si Kim sa Russia, pero napaulat na nais ng Pyongyang leader na ipakita sa publiko ang sinasabing lumalakas na trilateral alliance ng Moscow, Beijing at Pyongyang. Dati nang inimbita ng Kremlin si US President Donald Trump, pero ayon sa sources, tumanggi ang Washington leader na dumalo sa victory parade ng Russia ngayong taon. Nakita sa mga bagong satellite images ng Maxar Technologies at Planet Labs na malapit nang matapos ang pinakamalaking barkong pangdigma ng North Korea. Tinatapos ang konstruksyon ng naturang North Korean warship sa Nampo Shipyard. At batay sa obserbasyon ng ilang analysts, ito ay isang guided missile frigate na idinasenyo para sa vertical launch tubes na pwedeng gamitin laban sa mga land at sea targets.
Dumalo si impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol ng South Korea sa pagdinig ng korte patungkol sa kaso niyang insurrection. Ayon sa napatalsik na Pangulo, hindi kudeta ang pagdedeklara niya ng martial law noong nakaraang taon. Sagot naman ng prosekusyon, walang legal na batayan si Yoon para magdeklara ng martial law. Inakusahan din nila na pinaparalisa umano ng dating Pangulo ang mga state institutions kagaya ng parlamento. Subalit, iginiit ng defense team na ang pagdedeklara ni Yoon ng emergency martial law ay constitutional authority nito bilang Pangulo. Kung kinikilalaan nila ng korte ang legalidad ng emergency martial law, mapatutunayan nila ng panig ni Yoon na hindi ito kailangang ituring na isang krimen o insurrection sa simula pa lamang.
Susunod, Tesla sa Saudi Arabia nagbukas na.
World Expo sa Japan, binuksan na rin.
At Oscar Piastri nagwagi sa F1 Bahrain. Mga detalye ng mga balitang yan at iba pang mga balita sa pagbabalik ng Mata ng Agila International.
Maraming naiinggit kay Naomi dito. Fake news ba? O totoo na? Abangan mamaya sa A Date with the Future. 8:30 p.m. dito lang sa NET25.
Let's net together sa NET25. Sa NET25.
Nagbabalik ang Mata ng Agila International at sa pagpapatuloy po ng ating mga balita ngayong gabi. Iniulat ni People's Committee of Binliu Town Chairperson Wang Tingyin na nagpadala sila ng higit sa 300 bumbero para apulahin ang forest fire sa Quang Ninh, Vietnam. Tinukoy ni Nguyen na nakontrol na ng mga bumbero ang sunog sa Nake at Conan area, subalit nananatiling kumakalat ang apoy sa Keboak at Paklieng dahil sa malakas na ihip ng hangin sa terrain. Sa ngayon, nasa 50 forest fire sites na ang naapula ng firefighting team ng Quang Ninh. Ililikas na rin ang mga residenteng apektado ng forest fires patungo sa mga emergency shelters. Patuloy namang inaalam ng mga otoridad ang kabuuang danyos mula sa mapaminsalang forest fires.
Tumamang malalakas na hangin sa Beijing, China na nagdulot naman ng pagkasira ng mga gusali at kanselasyon ng mga flights. Ayon Ayon sa lokal na ulat, bumagsak ang higit 700 na mga puno habang kinansela na ang nasa 673 flights sa dalawang international airport sa lungsod. Umabot sa bilis na 150 kilometers per hour ang hangin na nagmula sa malamig na vortex sa Inner Mongolia region na nagpalamig at nagpaula ng yelo naman sa Timog China. Ang malakas na bugso ng hangin ay may dala ring buhangin at alikabok. Sa kabila nito, karaniwan itong nangyayari sa rehiyon, ngunit mas tumindi pa ito dahil sa climate change. Inanunsyo sa Beijing ang ikalawang pinakamataas na wind alert sa loob ng isang dekada. Inaabisuhan naman ang lahat ng mga nasa lungsod na ikansela ang mga hindi mahalagang pagbiyahe at manatili muna sa loob ng kanilang mga tirahan.
Nabalot naman ang apoy ang katawan ng isang lalaki sa Ecuador matapos itong makuryente mula sa electrical installation ng bahay na kanyang pinipinturahan. Batay po sa lokal na ulat, habang nagpipintura siya mula sa bubong gamit ang roller brush ay bigla na lamang nagdulot ito ng short circuit sa electrical installation na nakalagay sa bahay. Dito na siya nakuryente at dahil sa hindi na siya makaalis, rito ay tuluyan ng nasunog ang katawan ng biktima. Naapula naman ng Ecuadorian authorities ang apoy at na-recover ang katawan ng biktima na wala na pong buhay. Sinimulan na ng mga pulis ang investigasyon sa insidente kasama sa kanilang inaalam ay kung may sapat bang safety measures na sinunod ang biktima habang ito ay nagtatrabaho sa nasabing lugar.
Mas matimbang nga ba ang academic performance kaysa sa krimeng nagawa? Yan ang tanong ng lahat matapos hindi hatulan sa kaso ng panggagahasa ang isang college student sa Belgium. Ang dahilan ng judge, maganda raw ang grades nito at may magandang kinabukasan. Kinilala ang suspect na si Ruben Van Stiphout, isang gynecology student. Ayon sa biktima, pinagsamantalahan siya ni Van Stiphout noong siya ay nalasing sa isang party nitong nakaraang taon. Nahatulang guilty si Van Stiphout, ngunit noong April 1, 2025, binawi ng korte ang kaso dahil di umano siya ay may magandang grades at may magandang kinabukasan. Ayon pa sa judge, may potential siya at mas mahalaga umano na makatulong siya sa lipunan bilang doktor kaysa makulong. Agad humingi ng restraining order ang biktima sa korte dahil sa takot na may gawin muli si Van Stiphout, ngunit maging iyon ay hindi ipinagkaloob sa kanya. Umani ng sari-saring komento at protesta sa Belgium ang naging desisyon ng korte.
Hinihinala namang pinatay ng isang binatilo sa Wisconsin, USA ang kanyang sariling mga magulang. Ang dahilan para umano magkaroon ng pera at kalayaan upang ma-assassinate si US President Donald Trump. Inaresto ng mga otoridad si Nikita Casa, 17 anyos. Natagpo ang patay sa pamamarila ang kanyang stepfather at ina sa loob ng kanilang bahay sa Waukesha County nang magsagawa ng welfare check sa kanilang tahanan. February 28 na matagpuan ang mga labi na pinaniniwala ang pinaslang noong pang February 11. Sa bisa ng search warrant, natagpuan sa phone ng suspect ang kanyang koneksyon sa tinatawag niyang The Order of Nine Angels. Ayon sa pagsisiyasat, isa itong grupo na neo-Nazi at racially motivated extremists. Natagpuan rin ang mga litrato ni Adolf Hitler. Ayon naman sa pag-aaral ng Federal Bureau of Investigation o FBI sa mga sinulat ng binatilyo, balak nitong i-assassinate ang US President at simulan ang revolusyong Save the White Race. Patong-patong na kaso ng first-degree murder at pagtatago ng bangkay ang haharapin ng suspect sa hukuman. Nais ring isulong ng FBI ang mga sumusunod na kaso: assassination, conspiracy at use of weapons of mass destruction.
Sinimulan nang magbenta ng Tesla na electric vehicles dito sa Saudi Arabia noong Huwebes. Sinasabing ang pagbubukas na ito ay hudyat ng pag-aayos ng relasyon sa pagitan ni Tesla Executive Elon Musk at ng kaharian. Narito ang karagdagang detalye mula kay Jeff Sanidad.
Sinasabing nagkaayos na nga si Tesla CEO Elon Musk at ang kaharian ng Saudi Arabia nang opisyal na simulan ng electric vehicle company ang operasyon nito doon. Kasabay nito, nakikita ring lumalarga na ang kaharian sa ambisyong e-vehicle policy nito. Isang Tesla Cybertruck at isang redesigned Model Y sedan ang bumida sa plaza na napapalibutan ng palm trees. Isang maliit na grupo ang sumubok sa mga sasakyang nakadisplay habang isang higanteng video screen naman ang nagpapakita ng isang Cybertruck na umaararo sa isang disyerto habang pinalilipad nito ang buhanging dinaraanan. Dahil sa 13% na pagbagsak ng first quarter sales ng Tesla, hindi katakataka na kailangan nito ang bagong customers. Ang pagbagsak na ito ay iniuugnay sa kampanin ni Musk sa administrasyon ni Pangulong Donald Trump. Gayon din sa dumaraming kompetisyon at nalulumang mga modelo. Samantala, major investor naman ng Saudi Arabia sa karibal ng Tesla na Lucid. Layon ng kaharian na maabot ang 30% EV adoption 5 taon mula ngayon. Bagamat nagkaroon ng hindi pagkakaunawaan si Musk at ang kaharian ilang taon na ang nakalipas, tila na bago ang ihip ng hangin ng pumwesto ito sa administrasyon ng bagong US President. Ngunit para sa mga dumalo sa Tesla launch, hindi nila sila apektado sa politika ng US kahit pa wala si Musk sa event na ito.
I don't see the USA's politics as something that will impact us here. It doesn't affect us, and they have the right to do whatever they want. But for us, we care about what affects us in the Middle East region.
Yes, I was definitely very excited to see him on stage and just be able to see my icon, but unfortunately he didn't come. But I have faith he's going to come eventually because we're now at the Tesla event, which means there are many Tesla's here to stay, so there are going to be many more events in the future for him to come.
Inilarawan ng local Tesla executive sa launch ang mga plano ukol sa pag-o-order ng mga produkto nito online. Gayun din ang pagbubukas ng pop-up stores nito sa malls at ang pagtatayo ng supercharger stations at service centers. Jeff Sanidad para sa Mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Nais palakasin ng Pakistan ang kanilang cryptocurrency sa pakikipagtulungan sa mga kilalang pangunahing personalidad sa nasabing industriya. Inappoint si Changpeng Zhao, founder ng Binance, bilang strategic advisor ng Pakistan Crypto Council na naglayo naman paunlarin ang digital finance sector ng nasabing bansa. Ang pagtangkilik ng Pakistan sa paggamit ng crypto ay nagpapakita ng pagnanais nitong maging mahusay pagdating sa global market ng digital assets. Sa kasalukuyan, ang bansa ay may estimated 15 up to 20 million users ng crypto na nagpapakita ng malaking potensyal para sa pag-unlad ng nasabing sektor. Ang pagtutok sa pagpapaunlad ng blockchain technology at paglikha ng mga regulatory framework ay maaari namang magdala ng mga bagong oportunidad sa ekonomiya at magpaigtingan ng innovation sa bansa. Ang pagtanggap ng Pakistan sa mga pangunahing figures sa industriya ng cryptocurrency ay nagpapakita ng malinaw na mensahe na nais nilang crypto-powered ang rehiyon.
Pinangunahan ni na Japanese Emperor Naruhito at Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba ang pagbubukas ng World Expo 2025 sa Osaka sa Japan. Ang World Expo ay sinasagawa kada 5 taon para itampok ang cutting-edge innovation sa teknolohiya. Inaasahan na dadalo rito ang higit sa 160 mga bansa at rehiyon. Ngayong 2025, ang tema ng Japanese Pavilion ay Designing Future Society for Our Lives, na layong ma-address ang mahihirap na global challenges at makapaglikha ng magandang hinaharap para sa lahat. Magtatagal naman ang World Expo hanggang October 13, 2025.
Inilunsad na po kanina ang Blue Origin spacecraft na sinasakyan ng all-female crew kasama ang tanyag na pop star na si Katy Perry. Kabilang sa all-female crew ito ang iba pang mga tanyag na personalidad katulad po ni na Emmy-winning Gayle King, indie film producer Kerry-Ann Flynn at award-winning journalist Lauren Sanchez. Kasama nila sa paglalakbay ang mga scientists na sina Aisha Bowe at Amanda Nguyen. Higit 60 taon na ang nakalilipas mula noong huling nagkaroon ng space flight kung saan walang lalaking kabilang sa flight crew. Matatandaang noong taong 1963 ay mag-isang lumipad sa space si Russian engineer Valentina Tereshkova. Sa aerospace company na Blue Origin rin nagmula ang pagpapalipad kay Star Trek actor William Shatner noong taong 2022 kung saan siya naging pinakamatandang tao naman na lumipad sa space sa edad na 90.
Iniulat ng kilalang French sports outlet na L'Equipe na ang top 20 ranked women and men players ay lumagda sa kasunduan na hinihiling ang substantial increase sa prize money. Isinumiti nila ito sa organizers ng Australian, French, Wimbledon at US Open. Nananawagan ang sulat na ito o liham na ito para sa mas mainam na redistribution of profits upang mas mabigyan ng benepisyo ang mga manlalaro ng tournaments. Tinutukoy rin dito ang patas na pagtrato ng teams at ng namamahalang organisasyon sa kanilang mga kampiyon.
Sa balitang NBA naman po, dahil sa panalo ng Los Angeles Lakers sa Houston Rockets, natiyak na ng LA ang ikatlong pwesto sa Western Conference. At ngayon po, nakatutok na ang team sa isa pang takbo para naman sa championship. Mula sa LA, narito po sina Alan and Eva Basalyahe para sa report.
It's Lakers versus the Houston Rockets for LA's last home game of the regular season.
Ahead of tip-off, fans flocked to an appreciation event and immersed themselves in all things Lakers before the purple and gold enter playoffs.
I think the best part of this season's been since Luka joined the team, they've really gone uphill.
I feel like Luka's our new Kobe here in LA. His tribute made me cry, made my daughter cry, and I'm just excited and I feel like we're going to win the championship this year.
I think the Lakers in the playoffs need to just definitely keep the defense intensity up, play hard, shoot the threes, to be honest, let Luka and Austin kind of control the ball. Let LeBron kind of just flow, do his thing, and he'll be a lot more productive. We'll be good. We'll be solid.
I think it's get the LeBron, Austin Reeves, and Luka more tight. You know, train harder. With the team will be unstoppable.
And unstoppable really was a fitting description as the Lakers gave the Rockets a sound walloping. For their part, Houston could only hang with LA for the first 8 minutes of quarter number 1, after which it was all Lakers. Los Angeles defeats Houston 140-109, thanks in large part to the trio of LeBron, Luka, and Austin.
This was before the game tonight, actually. Me and Brian was talking about how when players don't really know what they're going to do, they're tough to guard. And I kind of looked at him and was like, yeah, half the time I have no idea what I'm about to do. It just happens.
Austin just said that he thinks that the Lakers could win a championship. You've obviously taken a team to the finals last season. What do you think is the Lakers' ceiling?
Yeah, obviously that's got to be our only goal, and that's our only goal. I think we have the team to do it. When everybody's locked in, we're a hard team to beat, so that's our goal.
The always tough Western Conference makes reaching the NBA Finals a challenging prospect for any team.
But with the victory over Houston, LA shows signs that they're primed and ready to make a serious charge in the postseason.
Reporting from the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California, Eva and Alan from Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Sa ika-4 na pagkakataon sa kanyang karera ay muling naiuwi ni Oscar Piastri ang panalo sa naganap na Bahrain Grand Prix at pumangatlo naman ang kanyang kagrupo na si Lando Norris. Si Zaira Castillo para sa report.
Australian driver is at the final corner of the last lap. Piastri sees the checkered flag first. Oscar Piastri wins the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Oscar, félicitations. 2 victoires sur 4 Grands Prix. Tu es content?
Oui, je suis content. I have a great car.
Tu as une bonne voiture.
Yeah. Yes.
J'ai une bonne voiture.
Masayang nagdiwang ang Team McLaren matapos ang tagumpay ng isa sa kanilang mga driver na si Piastri na muling nagbigay ng karangalan sa koponan. Nakakuha si Piastri ng 25 points matapos ang higit 1 oras na matinding karera sa Bahrain. Samantala ay pumangatlo ang kanyang teammate na si Lando Norris na nakapagtala ng 15 points habang si George Russell ng Mercedes ay pumwesto sa ikalawa na may 15 points. At mula sa ikapitong posisyon sa simula ng karera ay nagtapos sa ika-6 na pwesto si Max Verstappen na kamakailan ay nanalo sa Japan Grand Prix. Nagretiro naman sa karera ang Williams car driver na si Carlos Sainz matapos magtamo ng malaking pinsala ang kanyang sasakyan dulot ng banggaan nila ng Red Bull driver na si Yuki Tsunoda. Tinanggal din sa karera ang Sauber driver na si Nico Hülkenberg matapos matuklasang may iligal na pagbabago sa kanyang sasakyan at lumabag sa regulasyon ng kompetisyon. Matatandaan na sa unang karera ng taong ito ay nakuha ng McLaren ang tagumpay sa pamamagitan ng pagkapanalo ni Lando Norris sa naganap na Australian Grand Prix. Zaira Castillo para sa mata ng Agila International. Trusted, connected, on point.
Well done. That's the...
Opisyal nang inanunsyo ng HBO ang renewal ng The Last of Us para sa Season 3 kahit hindi pa po na ipalalabas ang inaabangang season. Ang Season 2 ay magsisimula ngayong linggo na mayroong 7 episodes at may carefully planned multi-season arc. Itutuloy ng Season 2 ang kwento 5 taon matapos sa mga kaganapan sa Season 1 at itatampok ang komplikadong relasyon ni Joel na ginaganap ni Pedro Pascal at Ellie na si Bella Ramsey habang hinaharap nila ang mapanganib na mundo. Ang maagang pag-renew para sa Season 3 ay nagpapakita na matindig tiwala ng studio sa tagumpay ng serye. Ayon sa co-creator na si Craig Mazin, lampas pa sa kanilang inaasahan ang naging resulta ng Season 2. Pinuri rin ni Francesco Orsi ng HBO ang storytelling ng show at ipinahayag ang kanilang excitement para sa Season 3. Kahit hindi pa po na ipalalabas ang Season 2, malinaw na ang Season 3 ay patunay ng outstanding achievement ng The Last of Us bilang isa sa most celebrated and promising series na pinapalabas ngayon.
Ang pinakabagong pelikula ni Ryan Coogler at Michael B. Jordan na Sinners ay isa sa pinakaabangang pelikula ngayong 2025. Ginagampanan ni Jordan ang papel ng kambal na magkapatid kasama sina Hailey Steinfeld at Jack O'Connell. Isa sa kwento o isang kwentong horror na nakasentro sa South America noong 1930s. Ito ang unang horror film ni Coogler bilang manunulat at direktor ng pelikula at kanilang ikalimang pagsasama naman ni Jordan. Isa sa pinakasikat nilang pelikula ang Black Panther na mainit ding tinanggap ng mga viewers. Isang linggo bago ang opisyal na pagpapalabas sa April 18, 2025, pumalo agad sa perfect score na 100% ang Sinners sa Rotten Tomatoes. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng critics na nakapanood ay nagbigay ng positive review kung saan ito ay extremely rare na makuha ng isang pelikula sa modernong panahon, lalong-lalo na sa genre na horror. Bagamat maaaring magbago pa ito, ang kasalukuyang score ay nagpapakita ng malakas na indikasyon na isa ito sa best movies of the year. Ginamit ni Coogler ang setting ng Jim Crow era sa South America na nagbibigay ng patungkol sa kalagayan ng mga Afro-Americans noon at ngayon. Sa pagsasama ng history, horror at commentary, tila matagumpay na naitaguyod ni Coogler ang Sinners bilang isa sa pinakamakabuluhan at kapanapanabik na pelikula ng taon na may perfect score sa Rotten Tomatoes.
Inilabas na ng Cannes Film Festival ang opisyal na lineup ng mga pelikulang kalahok sa kompetisyon para sa Palme d'Or 2025. Sa isang press conference noong April 10, inilabas ang listahan ng mga piling pelikula na maglalaban-laban para sa pinaka-prestigious na parangal ng festival. Bukod sa Palme d'Or, igagawa din ang iba pang mahalagang parangal katulad ng Grand Prix, Best Director, Best Screenplay, Jury Prize, Best Actor at Best Actress. Kabilang sa mga tampok na pelikulang kalahok sa Cannes 2025 ang Eddington ni Ari Aster na pinagbibidahan ni Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal at Emma Stone. The Phoenician Scheme ni Wes Anderson, Velveig ni Richard Linklater, Alpha ni Julia Ducournau, isang pelikulang patungkol naman sa isang 11-year-old na may magulang na may AIDS. Si Ducournau ay muling nagbabalik matapos manalo ng Palme d'Or noong 2021 para sa pelikulang Titan.
Sa ibang balita, patok ngayon ang isang kakaibang atraksyon sa Florida. Ito ay tinatawag na Capybara Cafe kung saan maaaring makipaghalubilo at makayakap ang mga bisita sa mga giant rodents na capybara. Itinatag noong Oktubre ng nakaraang taon ni Stephanie Angel ang Capybara Cafe. Sa halip na karaniwang pagkain at inumin ang iniaalok ng cafe ay kakaibang karanasan kasama ang mga hayop. Sa halagang $49, maaaring makapasok ang mga bisita sa isang silid kung saan 3 capybara ang malayang gumagala at umuupo sa kandungan ng mga tao. Mayroon ding option na $99 para sa isang oras na karanasan kasama ang iba pang hayop kagaya ng wallaby, skunk at armadillo. Ayon kay Angel, ang layunin ng cafe ay hindi lamang magbigay ng kakaibang karanasan, kundi makatulong rin sa Noah's Ark Sanctuary Incorporated, isang non-profit animal refuge na nakabase sa Hastings sa Florida. Dahil sa tagumpay ng kanyang cafe, ay balak ni Angel na magbukas ng panibagong branch sa St. Petersburg. Ang capybara ay kilala bilang isang maamo at semi-aquatic na hayop mula sa South America. Maaari ring lumaki ito ng higit sa 1.2 meters at tumimbang na higit sa 45 kilos. Ang mga capybara ay kasalukuyang isa sa mga tinaguriang it animals ngayon sa internet.
Nagkaroon naman ng surprise appearances ang ilang mga tanyag na personalidad sa date ng Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival 2025. Sinurpresa ng Senior U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders ang mga manonood ng Coachella nang kanyang i-introduce ang singer-songwriter na si Clairo. Inilabas naman ni Charlie XCX bilang a surprise guest ang kanyang kapwa pop stars na sila Troye Sivan, Lorde at Billie Eilish upang itanghala mga remix ng kanyang hit album na Brat. Usapin rin ang long-awaited return ng rapper na si Travis Scott na nakatakda nga dapat ay mag-headline sana ng Coachella noong 2020 subalit. Hindi natuloy dahil nga yan sa pandemya. Ang 2025 Coachella ay kasalukuyang nagaganap sa Indio, California at nakatakda sa kanyang second weekend sa April 18 hanggang 20.
Naku, ayan na.
Ayan na, di ba?
Gusto nating i-congratulate natin ang successful na NET25 Cup, no? Nandun ka.
Ang ating third year ng Golf Cup ng NET25. Naku, Nina, kahit napakatindi ng sikat ng araw kanina,
imagine ko nga.
talagang hitik na hitik talaga sa mga manlalaro ang Golf Cup natin kanina.
Naku, ang ating kasamang si Alex Santos ba ay naroon?
Ay, syempre, hindi
Malamang
mag-a-absent
hindi
yun doon.
mawawala. Naku po, talaga naman.
At syempre, congratulations sa pamunuan ng NET25 na pinangungunahan ng ating presidente si CRV, President Cesar. Ang galing niya kayo na, no? Nag-hit pa siya.
Talagang gusto kong matutunan talaga yan.
di bale, pasasaan ba? Marami na tayo.
Hindi namin pangatlong taon na to. Alam ko na in the future, marami pang magaganap na NET25 Gold Cup. Cup, diba?
Yes, bako yan. So, abangan nyo kami ni Nina naman. Alex, humanda ka sa amin ni Nina.
Gusto ko yun, yung medyo nandadarag tayo, pero hindi talaga tayo marunong.
Diba?
Congratulations on the success of the
Ayan,
NET25
palaki ng palaki. So, nako, abangan pa natin yan. At syempre, susunod natin, may Summer Blast tayo.
Naman!
Kaya talaga naman.
Lapit-lapit
What
na.
a wonderful way to start the brand new week.
Excited.
So, wish you a happy Monday. At tandaan po na narito kami para maghatid ng balita sa dako ng mundo. Magandang gabi po. Ako po muli si Ricky Matay.
Ako si Nina Richie Lago Flores. Ito po ang Mata ng Agila International. Para naman sa iba pang mga balitang nangyari rin sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, punta tayo kay Alma Angeles para sa NET25 World News. Take it away, Alma.
Thank you, Nina and Ricky. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alma Angeles for NET25 World News. On tonight's headlines, President Xi Jinping is in Vietnam, a pivotal stop on his Southeast Asian tour, as China works to strengthen economic ties amidst rising trade tensions with the U.S. U.S. President Donald Trump's exemption for smartphones, computers, and other electronics from China from reciprocal tariffs may be about to change again. Why? Because Trump is now saying his announcement Friday is not a tariff exception and promises more details today.
He's saying they're exempt from the reciprocal tariffs, but they're included in the semiconductor tariffs, which are coming in probably a month or two.
Horrifying report from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Children, including toddlers, are being subjected to widespread sexual violence.
During the most intense phase of this year's conflict in Eastern DRC, a child was raped every 30 minutes.
And the news starts now. President Xi Jinping is in Vietnam, a pivotal stop on his Southeast Asian tour, as China works to strengthen economic ties amidst rising trade tensions with the U.S. The focus? Securing supply chains and boosting trade in a region caught in the crossfire of global tariffs. President Xi is calling for tighter cooperation with Vietnam, particularly in manufacturing and supply chains, as both nations face significant U.S. tariffs. He's also pushing for collaboration in cutting-edge sectors like artificial intelligence and green technology. Vietnam, a key manufacturer with Vietjet, hinting at potential aircraft leasing deals. And this move is seen, however, the relationship isn't without challenges. Tensions over the South China Sea and Vietnam's efforts to comply with U.S. trade demands, including restrictions on some Chinese goods and the introduction of Starlink satellite services, could create friction. Xi's trip also includes stops in Malaysia and Cambodia, both facing their own U.S. tariff challenges, highlighting the complex economic landscape in Southeast Asia. As global trade dynamics shift, and these nations are navigating a complex web of economic and political pressures. A last-minute surge in Chinese exports marked March as factories race to beat new U.S. tariffs. But the trade war is casting a long shadow, threatening to derail China's economic growth. Here's the report.
Chinese trade felt the effects of Donald Trump's tariffs even before the levies kicked in. Figures out Monday showed exports surged over 12% on the year in March. That was around 3 times the increase forecast by analysts. The numbers suggest factories were rushing out shipments before the tariffs took effect. However, the figures could now plunge, with China facing levies of up to 145% on most shipments to the US. One economist told Reuters it could be years before the export numbers return to the level seen in March. Monday's figures also pointed to weak domestic demand in China, with imports falling 4.3%, or more than double the decline that was forecast. That means policymakers could struggle to make up for any downturn sparked by a drop in exports. Economists at Goldman Sachs and Citi have already cut their growth forecasts for China as a result of the trade turmoil. One market expert said a plunge in soybean imports, much of which come from the US, suggested state firms in China were already shunning American produce. Overall, Beijing's trade surplus with the US rose to almost $77 billion during the first quarter. That's likely to keep the country in Trump's sights, given that closing the gap is at the top of his agenda. With China vowing to fight US tariffs to the end, Monday's figures don't bode well for any easing in tensions.
U.S. President Donald Trump's exemption for smartphones, computers, and other electronics from China from reciprocal tariffs may be about to change again. Why? Because Trump is now saying his announcement Friday is not a tariff exception and promises more details today. Here's Thomas I. Likeness for more.
The chaotic tariff rollout changes on an almost daily basis. Last week, Trump slapped a 145% reciprocal tariff on all imports from China. But by Friday, he granted an exemption to electronics such as cell phones, laptops, computers, semiconductors, and the like. Then, on Sunday, Trump posted on his Truth Social platform that more changes are on the way. This time he's saying his announcement Friday is not a tariff exception. He says electronic products from China are still subject to the 20% fentanyl tariffs, and he says they will be moving to what he is calling a different tariff bucket. The president said, "Stay tuned for more details."
I'll give you that answer on Monday. We'll be very specific.
Meanwhile, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick echoed that on a Sunday morning news program. He says the tariff relief on electronics is only temporary.
So this is not like a permanent sort of exemption. He's just clarifying that these are not available to be negotiated away by countries. These are things that are national security that we need to be made in America.
Lutnick says semiconductors and pharmaceuticals from China will be assessed a separate tariff. He says the administration is working on a new policy for those goods, which he says should be American-made. The confusion and flip-flops over what will be tariffed and how much the surcharge will be has created wild swings in the stock market. Chris Constantinos of the Riverfront Investment Group says this climate of chaos hurts the ability of businesses to plan or invest.
The uncertainty that this sows, not just for consumers, but also for businesses trying to make decisions in real time about hiring and CapEx and investing in high RRR potential projects, but which take capital up front. All of these types of decisions are having to be put on hold because of this low visibility environment.
Money markets are feeling it as well. The uncertainty is weakening the American dollar, something Commerce Secretary Lutnick says he's not worried about.
I am not concerned about it. We are focused on our tariff policy. We are focused. We have so many countries coming in to negotiate with us. The president has given us the ability, let's go get these great deals done. And we're on it, and the president's on it, and we're really, really focused on delivering the best thing for the American people.
So again, as America begins another week, we watch for more changes in its trade policy and how those changes will affect both the domestic and global economies. Thomas I. Likeness, NET25 World News.
In other news tonight, a year's worth of rain fell in just 2 hours, turning the normally arid landscape of Spain's Lanzarote Island into a muddy disaster zone. We have the latest on the state of emergency declared on the popular tourist destination. Lovely Apple Joyce Fabros reports.
Spain's Lanzarote Island experienced severe flooding on Saturday, April 12, 2025, after an intense 2-hour rainstorm delivered approximately 6 centimeters or 2.4 inches of rain, equivalent to a year's worth of rainfall in some areas. The deluge transformed roads into muddy rivers, inundated homes, and overwhelmed drainage systems, particularly affecting the towns of Arrecife, Costa Teguise, and Tahiche. Local authorities declared a state of emergency as emergency services responded to over 300 calls overnight, addressing flooded homes, submerged vehicles, and impassable roads. In Arrecife and Teguise alone, 222 incidents were reported, including flooding in garages, basements, and youth center. Despite the extensive damage, no injuries have been reported. The flooding also disrupted transportation, with several roads closed due to high water levels and flights canceled or diverted. The situation was exacerbated by earlier heavy rainfall from Storm Olivier earlier in the week. Authorities have since deactivated the emergency status but continue to advise residents to avoid unnecessary travel as cleanup efforts proceed. Reporting from Barcelona, Spain, this is Lovely Apple Joyce Fabros for NET25 World News. Back to you, Alma.
President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, recently traveled to Russia to meet with President Vladimir Putin. Now, the U.S. is urging Russia to accept a long-term ceasefire agreement in Ukraine. Take a look. On Truth Social this past Friday, President Trump wrote, "Russia has to get moving. Too many people are dying." Meanwhile, in Brussels, European nations have pledged billions in additional military aid to Ukraine. The chaotic tariff and now political rollout has left many wondering, how close are we to a ceasefire? President Trump said he's pissed off with Putin, using stronger language than that, and made it clear that the current meeting underscores his frustration with Russia's slow progress. It's also worth noting that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth didn't attend the meeting in person, but participated via video conference. European ministers, however, painted a bleaker picture. According to them, peace is out of reach. In response to that grim outlook, the EU announced $23 billion in military funding.
And the new pledges of military aid announced today through the UDCG total over 21 billion euros. A record boost in military funding for Ukraine, and we're also surging that support to the frontline fight.
Germany, for instance, pledged to provide air defense systems and Patriot missile systems.
First of all, there is the increasingly important area of air defense. We are talking about 4 more IRIS-T systems plus the 300 missiles. We are talking about 120 manpads. That is, ground-based air defense systems. We're talking about 300 reconnaissance drones initially, 25 more Marder infantry fighting vehicles, 15 Leopard main battle tanks, 14 artillery systems, 100 ground surveillance radars, and initially another 100,000 rounds of artillery ammunition. Our reliable support is therefore continuing, and, what's more, and this is very typical, as of yesterday I can announce that in the past few days we have also been able to provide 30 additional Patriot guided missiles from our own stocks for the Patriot systems that we have already delivered to Ukraine.
In a twist, the Trump administration, along with Secretary Hegseth, has been urging European allies to take the lead in supporting Ukraine. Meanwhile, the Russians have been pounding Ukrainian positions with no let-up at all, and as one official noted, Putin is even shifting the narrative by declaring not only Ukrainian President Zelensky, but his entire government illegitimate.
Что гражданские органы власти, они сегодня на самом деле в соответствии с Конституцией Украины не являются законными, выборы-то не были проведены там президентом, а Конституция устроена так, что все назначаются президентом, в том числе региональные органы власти, губернатор назначается и так далее. Если он сам нелегитимный, то все остальные тоже. Так вот, в условиях этой нелегитимности фактической неонацистские формирования получают дополнительное оружие и рекрутируют свои ряды новых людей. Это к чему приводит, может привести? Что фактическая власть находится в их руках. А это значит, в свою очередь, что и так-то непонятно, с кем подписывать какие документы. И так-то непонятно, какую силу они имеют, потому что завтра придут другие руководители, которые пройдут через выборы и скажут, ну, кто там подписывал, мы не знаем, до свидания. Но даже дело не в этом, а дело в том, что вот эти неонацистские формирования, такие как Азов, а там есть и другие, они фактически начинают руководить страной. Правда, и возникает вопрос, а как быть-то, как с ними вести переговоры?
There might be a breakthrough because Witkoff has gone to Russia in search of common ground with Putin, yet at this point it feels a long way off.
So we're going to the fight, and we have lots of fights going around the world. And I think we have a lot of good news coming soon about some of those fights. And we'll see how it goes. But it's been an interesting weekend, and we have some pretty good news coming on some of the conflicts.
Are there other talks that are going well in addition to your end?
There are other talks going well. I think Ukraine, Russia might be going okay. And you're going to be finding out pretty soon, you know. There's a point at which you just have to either put up or shut up and we'll see what happens. But I think it's going fine.
The international community is watching closely for the next move. Police in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania have arrested a 38-year-old man believed to be responsible for setting fire to the state governor mansion. The blaze caused extensive damage to the residence and forced Governor Josh Shapiro and his family to quickly evacuate the home. Arlene Ocampo reports.
flames forced the evacuation of Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, his wife, 4 children, and another family member who had celebrated Passover with them on Saturday. Shapiro says the fire broke out early Sunday morning.
At approximately 2 o'clock in the morning, while my family and I were asleep upstairs here at the governor's residence, one of the state troopers assigned to our detail banged on our door, woke us up and told us we had an emergency and needed to leave immediately. Together, we secured all of our children, our 2 dogs, our family that was staying with us, and the troopers safely evacuated us from the governor's residence.
Pennsylvania State Police Lieutenant Colonel George Bivens says police have arrested a 38-year-old man identified as Cody Balmer. He says Balmer got over a fence around the governor's residence.
At approximately 2 o'clock in the morning, while my family and I were asleep upstairs here at the governor's residence, one of the state troopers assigned to our detail banged on our door, woke us up and told us we had an emergency and needed to leave immediately. Together, we secured all of our children, our 2 dogs, our family that was staying with us, and the troopers safely evacuated us from the governor's residence.
Bivens says Balmer had been in the house less than a minute. Dauphin County District Attorney Francis Chardot says Balmer will face several charges.
He actively evaded troopers who were here to secure the residence, even while they were searching for him on the property. While they were searching is when he attacked at the residence, broke in and set the fires.
The charges will include attempted murder, terrorism, aggravated arson, and aggravated assault against an enumerated person. These are all very serious charges. As with any charges, the defendant is presumed innocent.
Shapiro says the attack had been targeted, but he does not know the motive. And he condemned violence that he says is becoming all too frequent.
This kind of violence is becoming far too common in our society. And I don't give a damn if it's coming from one particular side or the other, directed at one particular party or another, or one particular person or another. It is not okay. And it has to stop.
Shapiro says he will continue his work for Pennsylvania without fear. He adds he refuses to be trapped by the bondage that someone attempts to put on him by attacking him. Arlene Ocampo for NET25 World News.
Horrifying report from the Democratic Republic of Congo. Children, including toddlers, are being subjected to widespread sexual violence. The UN Children's Agency, or UNICEF, says in the first 2 months of this year alone, nearly a third of the 10,000 recorded cases of rape and sexual violence in eastern Congo involved children.
UNICEF said this morning that reports from child protection colleagues on the ground show children make up between 35 and 45% of the nearly 10,000 cases of rape and sexual violence reported to protection actors in January and February of this year. 10,000 cases. This UNICEF added means that during the most intense phase of the conflict in the east part of the DRC, a child was raped every 30 minutes.
And this crisis is unfolding amidst the M23 rebel offensive.
During the most intense phase of this year's conflict in eastern DRC, a child was raped every 30 minutes. We're not talking about isolated incidents. We are talking about a systematic crisis. We are seeing survivors as young as toddlers. It's a weapon of war and a deliberate tactic of terror, and it destroys families and communities. Now, the fact that this may just be the tip of the iceberg, hidden beneath layers of fear and stigma and insecurity, should shake us to the core. Early reports show that children make up between 35 to 45% of the nearly 10,000 cases of rape and sexual violence reported to protection actors in just January and February of this year.
Ecuador's presidential election results are being challenged despite a landslide victory declared for incumbent Daniel Noboa. His leftist rival, Luisa Gonzalez, is alleging electoral fraud and demanding a recount.
Ecuador's National Election Council on Sunday declared incumbent Daniel Noboa the winner of the country's presidential race. But leftist rival Luisa Gonzalez told supporters that she rejects the results and will demand a recount, calling it electoral fraud. Ahead of the election, the candidates had urged polling places observers to guard against fraud. The results came as a surprise to many after February's first round vote, when Noboa led Gonzalez by less than 17,000 votes. But with 92% of votes counted on Sunday, Noboa led with a margin of over 1 million votes. 37-year-old business heir Noboa was elected in 2023 only to serve out the remainder of his predecessor's mandate. He had pledged to continue efforts to fight drug gangs and boost the struggling economy. His electoral strategy also focused on distributing payouts to oil spill victims and small businesses hit by flooding. On Sunday, he celebrated his landslide victory.
This event has been historic. The victory has also been historic. A victory of more than 10 points, a victory of more than 1 million votes, where there is no doubt who the winner is, and that has been based on perseverance, struggle, work of each of the members of this team, of the team that seeks this new Ecuador.
Meanwhile, Gonzalez expressed disbelief over the outcome.
I refuse to believe people who prefer lies over truth, violence over peace and unity. I absolutely refuse to believe something like that. And that is why we all the people who have united against violence, against lies, are going to request a recount and for the polls to be opened.
The head of the National Electoral Council confirmed Noboa's win in a statement to the press and said that the national tally showed an irreversible trend. Bonds, which were still pricing probability of a return to socialist policies, were expected to rally on a Noboa victory. But Gonzalez's challenge could hinder or mute that market reaction.
A diplomatic row is brewing after a British member of parliament was denied entry to Hong Kong. Take a look. The UK's foreign minister is demanding answers from both Hong Kong and Beijing. Opposition MP Vera Hubhouse says she was turned away at Hong Kong's border, the first British parliamentarian to be denied entry since the 1997 handover. The incident has triggered strong reactions from the UK government. Foreign Minister David Lammy released a statement saying it's deeply concerning to hear that an MP on a personal trip has been refused entry to Hong Kong. We will urgently raise this with the authorities in Hong Kong and Beijing to demand an explanation. Hubhouse, who traveled to Hong Kong to visit her newborn grandson and son, expressed her shock and frustration. She stated on social media, "Authorities gave me no explanation for this cruel and upsetting blow." Speaking to Sunday Times, Hubhouse revealed she has been a vocal critic of China's human rights record, particularly concerning Hong Kong, Xinjiang, Tibet, and its stance on Taiwan and the South China Sea. As of now, Hong Kong Security Bureau, immigration authorities, and the Chinese embassy in London have offered no immediate comment. The UK government is pressing for answers, raising questions about Hong Kong's autonomy and the treatment of visiting lawmakers. And the news continues here on NET25. We'll be right back.
Get the feeling that health shows are always telling you to eat your greens, preferably raw and without salt? Ordering you to get up off the couch and go for a brisk run instead? Or insisting you stay away from parties since they rob you of valuable sleep? Well, we're going to focus on something now that's guaranteed to make almost everybody happy, all sexes, big or small, all over the world. Handy. DW's Mira Flicka explains why sugar gets you hooked. Get set for a really sweet show. In good shape.
With their win over the Houston Rockets, the Los Angeles Lakers clinched the third spot in the Western Conference and now shift their sights to focus on another run at the title. Alan and Eva Basilyaje with a report.
It's Lakers versus the Houston Rockets for LA's last home game of the regular season.
Ahead of tip-off, fans flocked to an appreciation event and immersed themselves in all things Lakers before the purple and gold enter playoffs.
I think the best part of this season's been since Luka joined the team, they've really gone uphill.
I feel like Luka's our new Kobe here in LA. His tribute made me cry, made my daughter cry, and I'm just excited, and I feel like we're gonna win the championship this year.
I think the Lakers in the playoffs need to just definitely keep the defense intensity up, play hard, shoot the threes, to be honest, let Luka and Austin kind of control the ball, let LeBron kind of just flow, do his thing, and he'll be a lot more productive. We'll be good, we'll be solid.
I think it's get the LeBron, Austin Reeves, and Luka more tight, you know, train harder. With the team will be unstoppable.
And unstoppable really was a fitting description as the Lakers gave the Rockets a sound walloping. For their part, Houston could only hang with LA for the first 8 minutes of quarter number 1, after which it was all Lakers. Los Angeles defeats Houston 140-109, thanks in large part to the trio of LeBron, Luka, and Austin.
This was before the game tonight, actually. Me and Brian was talking about how when players don't really know what they're going to do, they're tough to guard. And I kind of looked at him and was like, half the time I have no idea what I'm about to do. It just happens.
Austin just said that he thinks that the Lakers could win a championship. You've obviously taken a team to the finals last season. What do you think is the Lakers' ceiling?
Yeah, obviously. That's got to be our only goal, and that's our only goal. I think we have the team to do it. When everybody's locked in, you know, we're a hard team to beat, so that's our goal.
The always tough Western Conference makes reaching the NBA Finals a challenging prospect for any team.
But with the victory over Houston, LA shows signs that they're primed and ready to make a serious charge in the postseason.
Reporting from the Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California, Eva and Alan for NET25 World News.
And finally, a major international event making waves across the globe and the highly anticipated World Expo 2025 in Osaka, Japan, officially opened its doors to the public, drawing massive crowds eager to experience the future of innovation, sustainability, and global collaboration. Take a look. The 6-month-long event is being held on Yumeshima Island in Osaka Bay and is expected to attract over 28 million visitors from around the world. With the theme Designing Future Society for Our Lives, Expo 2025 brings together 158 nations and regions to address some of the world's most pressing challenges, ranging from climate change to advancements in healthcare. The public opening was preceded by a grand ribbon-cutting ceremony. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, Emperor Naruhito, and other dignitaries were in attendance. Prime Minister Ishiba highlighted the importance of global unity during his speech.
The world, having overcome the COVID-19 pandemic, is now facing various crises of division. In such times, it is of great significance for people from around the world to come together, reflect on the meaning of life, and engage with cutting-edge technologies, diverse perspectives, and different cultures.
The expo grounds feature a variety of attractions, including the Grand Ring, a stunning 2-kilometer wooden structure housing national pavilions. Visitors can explore futuristic innovations. Each country's pavilion offers its own unique take on innovation and culture. The USA Pavilion showcases a moon rock from NASA's Apollo missions.
We're at a moment right now where we are working on the Artemis missions, and the Artemis missions are going to be heading back to the moon. So there's a wonderful serendipity between 1970 in Osaka when we were going to the moon, and of course the first lunar sample that was here, but also today, you know, innovation really, so much happens in the world of aerospace and those technologies. So we are going back to the moon, so it was a great way to do that and to bring those concepts and the ideas forward.
And it's not just about technology. Expo 2025 is also a feast for the senses. Visitors can enjoy global cuisines alongside Japanese favorites like takoyaki and ramen while soaking in live performances and cultural parades from around the world. Expo 2025 runs until October 13th. And with that, we end tonight's broadcast. For everyone here on NET25, I'm Alma Angeles. Thank you all for joining us. Good night.